A quick comparison of some of my Maglites. This one has a wee halogen, regular 2D. Not the best. That one stays in the car for emergencies. This is a 4D with a 3-watt Cree drop-in. It's much better. It's actually quite impressive. As much as the camera will pick up, at least. It's a couple 100 meters away. This is a 6D with the original Xenon. Now this today I swapped between a 6-volt krypton and a 6-volt halogen, and the output and the colours were almost identical, the shapes of the beam were identical. Got a really good reach. Can't see it too well, but it's quite impressive. We're a couple 100 meters away again. It says on the box it has a 338 meter range. It's good. I like it. I'm gonna grab some of my vintages. We'll do a quick comparison between those as well. How lovely do these look? So this one here is a reproduction, I believe. It's a typical Tiger Head brand. I think they still make these. I think that's from the late 2000s. This one's from it's another Chinese brand. These three are true vintage, new old stock. All from, this one's from the 80s, 70s. I had a hard time finding some bulbs that would handles 7 D cells. When I found some 8-volt halogens off AliExpress. It's got an adjustable beam, but it comes loose. So it's stuck like that. This has a 6-volt halogen. Very long range, quite a tight beam. Should probably add that the batteries in this have a few hours under the belt as well. Maybe 2 or 3 hours. Starting to yellow a little bit, but still extremely bright. I compared this with the 6D Xenon Maglite. It's quite comparable. This also has 6D cells. I'll compare those quickly. Pretty comparable. This one, these are a really old design, but they still made them in Hong Kong right up until the 80s. I've got about 10 of these, new old stock. I've got a few for sale. Adjustable beam, but really quite impressive when you tune it up tight. You can really fine tune these into a small tight beam. You just got the classic twisting head, similar to a Maglite, just a bit more primitive. That has a 3.6 volt Krypton, E10 screws. These are also E10 screws, and this huge halogen is also an E10 screw. This is another 80s torch, I believe. It's got I dropped in a 2.4 volt or 2.5 volt halogen. Batteries in this are a bit knackered, and it shows. Not very good, but they really are quite nice. Really solid feeling little thing. No adjustable beam, which I actually like. It gives it a really solid feel. I have one more in the dark card actually, which is, again, should probably mention this little one has a bayonet. It's like a regular flashlight bayonet bulb. This one found some 2.5 volt E10 screw halogens. This is a 2C. Those are both 2Cs. Forgot to mention that's 3D cells. These ones are quite good. This one does have the adjustable beam. Really quite impressive for the size. Nothing compared to a modern LED obviously, but what can you expect? It's about 40 years old. I have boxes more in the garage. In fact, I'll go grab something really quick. So I wanted to show off my old bulb collection. These are the 8 volt halogen E10 screws that I found for the 7D vintage there, because it used to blow the 7.2 volt Kryptons that I've got in here. Which are those? They'd last a good 5 minutes. Plenty of old Colemans. I've got boxes more in the garage as well of various different things, but some really old school stuff in here. Good Phillips. Have a few LEDs in here. not a fan of LEDs. Works really well in the 4D, but that's about it. I prefer the light of the incandescents. Some nice 2.4 volt halogens. Found these really funky corrugated ones, frosted. I've got one of those in a 4D actually. I'm gonna go grab that. Here we are. Another 90s, 2000s vintage replica with one of those frosted bulbs in. Ideally it's a 5 to 6 volt bulb, but it's only got 4 cells, so it's very dim. Can be tuned up a bit though. That's not too bad. Doesn't have much going for it, except for being weird, which is what I like. Because if I wasn't weird, I wouldn't have all this. Some huge 4 volt Krypton E10 screws again. Some nice little 2.5 volt halogen screws. Yeah, the 6 volt halogen screws that are in the 6D unit there. Have some 6 volt halogen bayonets for the Maglite, which are quite good. There's not much else that's too interesting. These are what's in the 3D. This is an Everready, by the way. Genuine Everready. They're all boxed. But that's what's in one of those. It's like a regular flashlight bulb with an E10 screw base. Yeah, all the weird stuff. Spare lenses. Kryptons that look like halogens. They actually come as standard in these, but I swapped it for one of the halogens in there because they give off a bit better light. Yep, that's it. This video's way too long.